In this video, I'm gonna try to make this 1-year-old deadwood look 350 years older. But the deadwood isn't the only thing I'm planning to change today. I'll come back to that later. So let's begin. Last year, I created this deadwood and at that time, I was pretty happy with it. But after a year, the deadwood still looks new. When I look at the 350-year-old Shimpaku juniper like this one, the deadwood has decades of weathering and character. This doesn't. If I want this deadwood to look centuries old, I first need to understand how nature creates deadwood in the first place. In nature, Shari deadwood starts with some kind of damage. A branch breaks in a storm, lightning strikes a trunk, heavy snow causes a crack. When that happens, the part of the tree dies and decay gradually erodes the wood. The result is dead wood full of texture, cracks, irregular surfaces, and sometimes hollow. At the same time, the living part of the tree keeps growing. Year after year, the live vein slowly thickens and rises above the dead wood, creating a strong contrast between life and death. So, if I want this Shari to look older, that's what I need to recreate. More texture, variation, and a stronger contrast between the dead wood and the living vein. Before I touch any tools, I need a plan. In nature, dead wood often starts from a dead branch. So for this tree, I want the dead wood to start from this branch near the top. The idea is that this branch died first and the dead area gradually spread down the trunk over time. From the front, the dead part and the living vein should be visible for visual interest. I'm also checking where the live veins are running. These branches depend on the veins, so I'm tracing them from the branches to the roots to know exactly where to keep and cut before I start carving. From the front, the original dead wood feels a little narrow. So this time, I'm going to widen the shari and add texture. That's the plan for the dead wood. But later on, there's one more change I want to make to add even more character to the tree. Before carving, I need to clean the trunk. Brushing makes it much easier to see the grain of the wood. This is important because the grain is basically a guide for carving. The more closely I follow it, the more natural the deadwood looks. Now I'm extending the shari. As I widen, I'm constantly checking it from the front. I want the deadwood to be a focal point, but I don't want it to overwhelm the living part either. The balance between the two is what makes juniper bonsai so interesting. Okay, I think the shape is looking much better now. So now I need to start creating the texture the nature would normally create over decades. One thing that's making this deadwood look young is how smooth it is. If you look at this 100-year-old Yamadori juniper's deadwood, you'll notice that nothing is smooth. The fibers of deadwood split apart and the surface is uneven. So, instead of simply carving the surface, I'm using pliers and chisels to tear and split the wood along the grain. I'm pushing the chisel into the wood. Then using pliers, tear away the raised fibers. I'm avoiding cutting across the grain because trees don't naturally split that way. I'm also trying to eliminate any flat surfaces because they tend to make deadwood look young. And I'm deliberately creating variation. If this is natural, some areas weather more deeply or widely than others. The deadwood is already starting to look much older, but one area still stands out: the base of this gene. By the way, if you'd like learning more about bonsai tips, sign up for my newsletter. It's free and filled with useful tips like this one. Link is in the description. Back to gene deadwood. In nature, water and debris often collects around dead branches, causing the surrounding wood to weather faster. So, I want to hollow out this area slightly more. I'm working slowly here because I don't want to cut the live vein nearby. This is a small change, but it makes a surprisingly authentic look. But there's still one final detail that can instantly make deadwood look real: the way the living and dead parts split. Right now, the transition between the living and the dead part is a bit soft. So, I'm sharpening the boundary. Over the next few years, the light vein will continue thickening. The contrast between life and death will become stronger if the edge is clearly defined. Now, I'm stepping back to look at the tree. I feel something is missing. I think there's still one more change I can make to this tree. As you can see, this tree is styled as a cascade, which means it's supposed to represent a tree growing on the side of a cliff. And that got me thinking. If a tree had really spent decades clinging to a cliff, would all of its roots still completely buried? Probably not. So, for the final change, I'm going to expose the upper part of the roots. The only concern is that once roots are exposed, they need to be strong enough to handle the change. To help them transition, I'm wrapping the exposed section with sphagnum moss. Over time, the roots will gradually adapt to being exposed to the air and start developing a more rugged appearance. And now, here's the final result. Compared to where this tree started, I think it has much more age and character. I think this tree is heading in the right direction. And that's it for today, and see you in the next video.